Hello everyone and welcome to another video. This is another video in my new little series, I guess, of Reddit stories. And this particular one, it's wedding related, but it's like a MID a-hole kind of story. So MID a-hole for considering to end my friendship with two bridesmaids who ditched my bachelorette and pre-wedding plans. Ooh, so we're going to have a little read and then we're going to decide whether we think, or I think, this person is or isn't an a-hole. So let's get right into it, shall we? Okay, I, 30 female, had a destination wedding in West Tuscany, Italy. Beautiful. To make things easier and cheaper for my bridesmaids, I decided to have my bachelor party just 2 days before the wedding instead of planning something elsewhere. I organized the wine tour and told my bridesmaids months in advance so they could plan accordingly. Two of my bridesmaids, let's call them Jen and Pam, who I've been friends with since childhood, said they couldn't make it to the bachelorette because flying into Tuscany early was too expensive. Okay, I can see that. Going to a destination wedding is already, it's not for everyone. Not everyone can afford it. I can definitely see how that might be the case, and depending on the time of year, extending that period as well it's another expense, an extra, I guess. If it was just the flights, maybe not so much, but if those 2 extra days involved, extra days in a hotel and stuff like that, then I can see how that could add up. So let's carry on. Where was I? Right. I knew they were flying into Rome 4 days before the wedding, which is less than an hour flights away. I was hurt but kept quiet. Oh, it's okay. So they were already in Italy at the time, but in Rome, and they just did not want to fly or travel to Tuscany a bit earlier. Interesting. I also planned a welcome day on Friday, a small hike, a castle tour, a dinner with my in-laws so everyone could meet and explore together the town. Jen and Pam messaged me asking what they could do nearby. And when I reminded them of Friday plans, they said they'd rather explore on their own since it was their only free day. Aren't they there for the wedding? Like, what is happening? I feel like something's happening. They're already in Italy 4 days before, but in Rome. So is that not for your wedding? Did they not come to Italy for your wedding? I told them I was already sad. They'd missed my bachelorette and that it would break my heart if they skipped Friday too, especially since they were my bridesmaids. They only said they'd try to see me, but never confirmed. Friday came and they never showed. What shocked me most was finding out they did almost the exact same things I had planned, just on their own, hours apart. On my wedding day, they didn't even take care of the small tasks that I had asked them to as my bridesmaids. Oh, Now they're traveling across Europe together, and while I don't resent them for enjoying their trip, I can't help but feel hurt that they couldn't find the time to be with me before the wedding. We don't live close to each other, so moments like this are very rare. Would I be the a-hole if I cut them out of my life for this? I also want to clarify that the reason my husband and I decided to have the wedding in Tuscany was because he's from Tuscany and all of his family lives there. He adores his grandmother, and since my grandparents have already passed, it was a no-brainer for me to have the wedding there. We completely understood if people couldn't make it because of the costs or lack of PTO. PTO, I think that's American for paid time off, isn't it? Okay. So, guys, what do we think? Interesting. So, I think I would be hurt too if two of my friends, my closest friends in this case, because obviously they are bridesmaids in the wedding, so I assume they are quite close friends with OP, would choose not to spend those, so they would make the effort to travel to the country or the destination country of my wedding. But instead of, spending that time with me and my preparation, my whatever other activities planned for us to do together leading up to my big day, they would choose to do something similar on their own. So I can see how that would be hurtful, but I can also understand why they would want. So I can understand why people want, okay, let's make a holiday. Since we're traveling and paying all this money going to a different country, we'll make a holiday of it. So I can totally see that. But I would kind of expect that to happen after the wedding. So leading up to my best friend's wedding, I'm helping them. It's all about them. They get one big day. So, leading up to it is not it, you're there for them, aren't you? And then after the wedding, you extend your trip, you've made the effort, paid all that money to be there. I can see how you would want to, and that's kind of how I would do it. I would just, maybe if I were to extend the trip, I would do it after my friend's wedding. So I can see why she is hurt by them not being there, especially since they were already in Italy. But I'm not sure I would necessarily. It doesn't feel like she's told them how hurt she was about all of this. She did mention, "Oh, you didn't come to my bachelorette," but I don't think she actually let them know exactly how hurt she was. So I think cutting them off completely, like ghosting them, considering how close they were, I'm assuming, might be a bit much. I'm thinking. So you're not the a-hole for being hurt, but you might be maybe jumping the gun a little bit with the decision without or before having a conversation to see where their head was at and see their reaction to it, because I think that's important. If they apologize profusely and say, "Oh my God, we didn't think this is going to hurt you this much. We just decided to make a trip of it. We didn't really think this through very well. That it was your big day and leading up to your big day." So that would be something. But I think if their reaction to you expressing your hurt would be dismissive, or, "Oh, you're being a bridezilla," then maybe then I would consider slowly or immediately cutting them off. It depends on what the background is there. What's the history between you? How long have you been friends? I'm assuming they're good friends since you chose them as your bridesmaids. So shall we have a quick look at what the comments said? Because I'm a bit curious if OP was deemed an a-hole or not. Look, they were on this vacation because of your wedding. It sounds like they've already begun the cut-off process. You would be finishing it, not the a-hole. Interesting. Doesn't really seem that way since they're now touring Europe independently to the wedding party. They made a quick detour for the wedding. They returned to the vacation plan. So yeah, that's kind of how it feels. Your wedding was not the main reason they made that trip. They took a trip together. They went early into Rome. They had a few days there. They made a little quick, dunk and out into your wedding. They didn't take part into bachelorette, and they didn't take part in the pre-wedding activities. And then they carried on after your wedding. So it definitely feels like your wedding was an afterthought in this process. So I agree with that one. Okay, let's see here. Where did everyone come from? It's a destination wedding in Italy, but did the participants fly over from the US? If you had gotten married wherever you live, would you have still picked these two friends to be your bridesmaids? Or were they selected more because they were the ones willing to travel to Italy? I see. Yeah. So I also questioned how close the relationship was and what that background was there with your friendship. Honestly, I would love to go to Italy, but it's very far away for me, and that means it's very expensive and would take a lot of time off. If I ever do go, it will be to do the things I want to do and when I want to do them. If a good friend happens to be getting married there at the same time, sure, I'll attend. If they wanted me to, I'd even bite the bullet and do the bridesmaid thing for their wedding day, even if we weren't terribly close. But my trip wouldn't be about their wedding. I'm just wondering if your guests may have had a different idea for how the trip would go. Like, were they going to your wedding or in Italy, or were they going to Italy and attending your wedding while they were there? Yeah, so I can see that's again one side of the coin. This feels like this person, this commenter is, on the side of, well, it depends on what's happening. If I'm there already, the trip is my main focus. And if it happens to be a wedding, then I might pop in. So I'm not sure. But what do you guys think? What would you do? Let me know what you think. Do you think they're the a-hole or not? Like I said, I don't necessarily think they're the a-hole for feeling hurt, but I think they would be jumping the gun and maybe being a bit of an a-hole for just completely cutting them off, and not having a little discussion about things. If these friends are as close as I think, and I would only choose, and I have chosen close friends to be my bridesmaids. So that's kind of what I got in the back of my head, but I'm not sure how others make that selection for the bridesmaids. So, anyways, I think I've waffled long enough on this one. Let me know what you think, and I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye for now. Bye.